Anyway, oh wait, I need to get food. I'm like on one part. Okay, but basically, um, me and Ellie came up with this thing that explains kind of where the Peepus came from. So we all know Peepus, you know, they're technically, there's a headcanon. I'm not sure if it's canon or not. That Peepus are Stanton's eggs, but like you know, and so we had like an idea. Um, what if there was an Addison mating season, but it's like different from like regular animal mating seasons? You see, we came up with the idea that, well, I'm not sure if it's us that came up with it first, but basically, we came up with the idea that there there are Addison mating seasons that are triggered by really good sales, and that means like flirting with other Addisons to get a mate would be like bragging about your sales. And so, you know, and basically the eggs wouldn't be like regular bird eggs or no eggs at all, but that's not sad. But it would be like Peepus. It'd be Peepus. Yeah, 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 yeah. And so like there are a ton of Addisons. You know how there are so many Addisons? This that's explained by the Addison mating season because there's got to be a ton of Addisons. They've got to sell. They've got to profit to make more Addisons. So of course they have to live as a species. Um, so they not obviously um they adapted over time to um to have uh like heats whenever they get good profits, which makes them need to have a mate. And the reason why it's when you get a lot of profits is because they wanted to carry the wealthy, successful genes over to the new kin. You know, and I think that explains a lot. And so, um, and I feel like this would also be really painful for Stanton in particular because in his big shot era he got a ton of sales. He was really rich and very wealthy. So I just imagine he'd like be constantly like, you know, and that's why there are so many Peepus. That's why there are so many Peepus, and that's why the Peepus never hatch. Because obviously Stanton isolated himself from his other Addison friends, his other Addison people, and so there would be no chance of finding an Addison mate. And also he wouldn't let his pride fall by going to go search. Oh my god, to go search for mates, Addison mates. So he would have to resort to Tenna, which makes Santana technically canon because in this AU because he would have to resort to Tenna because Tenna is his closest ally, a person he can trust. You get it. So Tenna, Tenna and Stanton, they mate, they're mates, and that's why the peaks never hatch because Tenna isn't an Addison. So obviously they can't really create children or babies together. So um, that's why the Picos will never hatch. I think that's my problem.